Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before I do get started, let me go ahead and give a brief little review. In the last part, we had a number of events happening. Now, Deku, he had a lot to deal with. Members of the Vault Society are on the fence about his decision to destroy the Ultralux and to murder everybody involved with that organization known as the White Glove Society. Now, under normal circumstances, this could be understandable. But John, Hasashi, their reports mentioned that possible civilians were caught up in the mix. But Deku, when he saw the overseers, he made things quite clear. Anyone who wore a mask, anyone who worked for the Ultralux, they were murdered. He left nobody involved with that society alive. Yes, it may have been brutal to parade them on the front lawn, but it was a warning to their enemies. Right now you have the fact that Courier 6, someone Deku already does need to meet with, has asked Mr. House to set up a meeting. And the people over at the Gamora, they are extending the offer that if they ever need anything from them, not to hesitate to ask. And they do say that through a strained smile, since Deku, had he wanted to, would have murdered all of them in a single afternoon. Just like the fact that he did the same thing to the White Glove Society. Big Sal was terrified of Deku. And Deku, thanks to 3 of the Overseers, he will not face reprimands for his actions. Though, he also did talk to them about potentially allowing Vault Dwellers to choose to mutate. The Enclave had a specific idea about them, about what they should be doing to themselves. Their entire society, everybody born in the modern age, they are part of a eugenics program. Deku, he thought about using that to their advantage. The surface world is very dangerous. If they use the results of the FEV, if they change themselves in ways that suit their enhanced biology, then they can do much. The Overseers, they weren't too sure about this. Though Deku, he made sure to express to only extend this offer to members of the surface team. Let them test their genetics, and if they do believe themselves compatible and sure about it, allow them to mutate. The Overseers, they did put this idea into the pool of discussions they will be having. Though they've already toyed around with this. They never destroyed the Enclave research, but they said they did. They announced it to the entire vault. It is still kicking around in the AI's database. And that does mean something. Deku, he also decided it was about time to let somebody know about the Sierra Madre. His sister has been through 2 different traumatic events within the span of 3 months. And he decided to tell her about the Sierra Madre. This was a horrifying tale for her to hear. And Deku, he recorded every minute of it. For 3 hours, she heard her brother talk about this entire thing. She asked questions, and he clarified them. She was mad, she was angry, she was horrified at some things. But her questioning does help the record understand everything. Deku, he was happy about that. Whenever she left, she felt a little bit better. The wasteland is a horrible place, but after the experiences she's been through, she can only ever go up. Deku, he also requested the ability to wake up a few other vault dwellers, and the overseers, they have granted this request. Now, we do currently have Deku. Today, he has decided to wake up the others, wake up a few other vault dwellers. However, today, he got out of bed and he made coffee. He had breakfast and he did chat with Marcy and Chloe. The two, the two were in a very good mood, and they were quite happy to know about what was happening. Deku, he talked about taking the holotapes over to drop off with the overseers. And he also wanted to see about potentially looking into the Brotherhood, about what may be going on with them. They need stealth specialist for an idea he does have. And Chloe does mention how she can handle that and not to worry about it. Though she does ask him exactly if he's alright. I should be fine. Though, handling these people it's going to be tricky. Deku enjoying his breakfast with the two. He does have quite a bit of turkey bacon and a load of pancakes. Right now, him heading out and going to see the overseers. And whenever the overseers do have their morning meeting interrupted by Deku, he does go to bring his hands up and go to sit down 6 different holotapes set on a rack. And he does express he is sorry to disrupt the overseers, but he does wish to return this to them. Your holotapes. Mr. Midoriya, we do appreciate the gesture, but those holotapes are meant in case you are wishing to record personal thoughts. I understand, overseers. These are my set of holotapes. I have returned them, loaded of information. All of them looking at each other. And they do get to look back at Deku, who does get to express. These holotapes contain the first 6 logs of the Sierra Madre incident. He recorded them yesterday when he was discussing it with his sister. He believes that they would be worth them all having. He will potentially need more logs. The way things are going, the full record may be 20 chapters long. 20 chapters. Yes, Overseer Matthews. Quite a number of things happened. Though if I do wish to cut everything down, summarize some events, I believe 10 chapters would do. But you would also want to ask me multiple questions. I believe Marcia or Chloe can give you 5 chapters. I see. These audio logs can record up to 30 minutes. You do understand this, correct? I do, Overseer. But, Mr. Stanford, these are all fully loaded. This is the first 3 hours of our journey. All the overseers falling silent. The first 3 hours? I see. That is quite odd. It is. I made sure to summarize and talk about a few things. Overseers, if you do wish to listen to this journey, I would recommend a drink in your hand. Not over your breakfast at all. There's a number of things that don't make sense about the incident. I cannot explain it in a way that makes sense to me. Not even Miss Winters can explain it in a way that makes sense. She believes in science. And Mr. Matthews, I think it would give you an aneurysm to try and wrap your mind around. Mr. Midoriya, the FEV in my understanding of it already does provide me with much things I don't understand. Are you saying that this is worse than that? Yes, much worse. I see. Overseers, while this is one part of my coming here this morning, I also do wish to ask about my request to awaken more dwellers. May I have approval for this? I believe I found some that would be quite suitable for this. All in favor? Many of the overseers going to raise their hands. And Deku, he does get to watch as all five do vote unanimously for this. And it is quite something. Never in his life did he think he'd ever see five overseers agree to something, let alone to something he proposed. And that it does mean something. And Deku, he does go to make a plan. Now, we do currently cut over to someone else a few hours later. Right now, it does seem strange. The last thing they do remember is being locked in a cell, collar around their neck, and the experiments that were performed on them. It didn't make sense. They left the vault to go save the surface, to go explore it and make sure that everything goes well, to see if they have a home up there, to find out if there's something up there for them, for their society. They went out to the surface and everything went black shortly afterwards. Then they found out about the people in control. The fucking Enclave. They had a video talking about their experiments and everything. And this is where they do go to open their eyes, quite alarmed, and jump up. Right now, them, quite surprised, finding themselves in a room. And they do to look around. They're still in their old, tattered vault suit. Though they do to find that the collar around their neck is gone. And this, it does mean something. A radio does get to play a music, an old song, and they do to turn their heads staring at that. Was it all a nightmare? No, it can't be. Looking at their hands, they're still mutated. Right now, the person standing up and walking over to a mirror. And he does get to stare at himself. He still looks like a goddamn monster. And this, it does go to make him pull back his fist and smash it into the mirror. Him grunting with pain as he does a turn and make his way out. Right now, him going to step out of the door to the room and being quite caught off guard when he does go to see a hallway. And this, it does make him turn to look around the room to see about a potential weapon. Though, without a collar around his neck, he's all the weapon he needs. And he does a somewhat grin walking down the hallway. As over the door at the end does it open, he does it to find himself in a room. And Deku, he does go to sit there. Right now, him with a bottle of whiskey in front of him, along with a report currently sitting in front of him in a file. And the person, they do just stare on in front of them. There's a man in a vault suit with horns on his head. And he doesn't turn his eyes directly to him. His eyes are mutated. But he has a scar in his left eye. I mean, it's on the side of his temple. He's got a scar on his cheek and on his neck. It's visible scarring. And he's wearing a fucking Pip-Boy. Him turning his head to the other person sitting at the table. Another door going to open as Deku, he does turn his head and stare at them. The person turning their head and seeing another Vault Dweller. Although at a closer appearance, they're another mutant. I mean, this is incredible. How is this possible? No. The other person going to express. This is a trick, isn't it? It isn't. Though, I'd say so far, we are 3 out of 6. You all haven't tried to kill yourselves, nor kill me. What is this? Who are you? What is happening? Mr. Reed, I would recommend you sit down. Miss Fraser. Deku turning and going to express in Japanese. He does recommend she does take a seat. There are no members of the Enclave here. And she does stare at Deku bewildered. Right now, Mr. Reed going to stare at Deku knowing what that language is. That's Japanese. He's never heard a member of the Enclave speak that. He's a bit suspicious. But he does wear a Pip-Boy. And the files that are in front of each chair. No. If he does need to, he could use his voice. For right now, he'll just play along and take a seat. Another door going to open. However, he does go to step forwards and sit down. The fourth person does come stepping in. Right now, him going to look around and stare on. And Deku does a turn to the man with the arachnid appendages on his face. His body covered in a strange sort of exoskeleton. Along with the fact that he does have 4 different arms. And Deku, he does this stare at him. The man staying there as Deku does it await. However, the 6th person here does come walking out. They do to stare at the group. All of them look uncomfortable. But Deku, he does go to sit there. Him turning and going to express. Miss Hensley. She can go ahead and sit down. Once that does happen, he can go ahead and brief them on everything. Fine. That should suffice. You're not Enclave, are you? No. My name is Izuku Midoriya. I am a Vault Dweller. All of you need to understand. You're lying. I'm not lying to you. You'd think that these would be enough to convince you. But him going to bring his left hand up and begin to mutate it. And whenever all of them do go to see this, they do just stare on. His hand does go elongate in a claws. His left arm does get larger. And he does allow them to see it fully go to mutate. Him pulling it back as it does begin to shrink back down and become proportional. Now, he does wish for all of them to understand this. They were all frozen for a significant amount of time. Right now, he wants them to understand. He is from the team that originally was able to revive, originally able to take on the surface. The first team to ever actually make it there. You're lying. I'm not. If you think I'm some enclave fuck, go ahead and try and attack me. But considering the fact that none of you have tried, I take it you do trust me a bit. That or you're all waiting and biding your time trying to figure out what to do. Am I wrong? Mr. Reed, from my understanding of your file that the Enclave did hold on to at one point, you have a psionic screech. That's why you don't have a collar. Mr. Psyche, you have venom. You could try to bite me, paralyze me. Along with you, Miss Fraser. You could do the same exact thing. But you've all sat down. You're smart. And you do know that I myself am a mutant. You just don't know what I am. My name is Izuku Midoriya. Midoriya. Yes. I know that name. I've heard it before. You have? Yes. I have. I don't know you though. Are you a son, maybe? Your grandmother, no, mother, maybe. Mia. Mia. Maybe. That was one of the Midoriyas. Though the other was Kenji. Kenji? Yes, that was my great-grandfather. Great-grandfather. Yes. Now, I do believe that does move me into my next point. It may alarm some of you to understand the current year. The current year is 2284. The day, July 6th. Deku looking around, and he does this stare at the bewilderment and confusion on all of their faces. And this, it does alarm them. Right now, you can see it. They're trying to process all of it. The Enclave cryogenically froze all of you. All of you are from different time periods. Whatever day or year you believe it to be is false. In fact, that's the problem. What is going on then? You're lying. That can't be the truth. What is the actual year? I swear to Christ, if you work for the fucking Enclave, I will scream so hard your skull rattles. I will kill you. Deku gonna stand as his chair does a slide back, all of them tensing as he does tell them all. The year is 2284. The day is July 6th. Now, he revived all of them. They were chosen because he does believe that they can be useful assets in their upcoming war. War? Yes. We destroyed the Enclave. We took them out. We have allies on the surface. And I do believe that all of you can be useful assets in a problem the surface world is currently having. Now, I know a bit of what you all have been through. I was mutated in the year. Well, it doesn't matter. I was mutated 3 years ago, in 2281. That's the thing. Right now, I do wish for all of you to understand. It's going to be hard to deal with. It's going to be difficult. But I believe that you can all be useful. All of you have a lot of anger. All of you have a lot of rage. You have a lot of questions. But I do have one very important one for you. Who's hungry? All of them gonna blink. Deku turning and expressing. Now come along with him. He does believe it's a good time for them all to get some food. Not just that, he'll take them up to the surface to see it for themselves. The real world. And they, due to somewhat hesitantly, follow Deku. Right now, there is where Deku, he does come walking out of a room. And whenever he does go to walk down the corridor, they do go to step in to the vault. Right now, them looking around and seeing the familiar area. Some going to follow Deku, and others trying to be a bit more cautious. Though they do to watch as some people, they do go to around a corner. And when they do to stare at a green-skinned man, it does alarm them. But there is where Deku does walk up and grab the man by his wrist. The two holding firm like that as Deku does a turn. Talking about how these are the six he's talking about. Firstly revived and heading up to the surface now. Though who's training? Cynthia's up there. Though I'm sure she'll be happy to see a few more. Please. Cynthia is a bit of a sadist. You don't gotta tell me that. Lady's crazy. Trust me, I know. She's a bit of a... You know. Trust me. I see it. Though, what about them? How are you doing? John turning to all of them. And you can tell by their body language, they are still quite surprised. This guy's green. The other guy has horns on his head. It's more obvious that he's a mutant. Though, there is a dude to walk into an elevator. Right now, them heading up and into another level of the vault. A lot more people active and walking around as they do to come out and some do to recognize the area. Right now, them heading for the exit of the vault entrance. And when they do a walkthrough into the fake area, Deku does take them through to the next elevator, where they can properly head up to the surface. He does go to backtrack everything he does remember. The elevator, the stairs, whatever one you want to take, he goes there. And when they do arrive to the surface, everyone is quite alarmed. And they do to see that a number of mutants are training. And that's something that does to catch some of their eyes. This is the real world up here. I mean, they're in an airport. There's a group of people over there running in a parade run? No. They're training. There's power armor soldiers over there in a suit they've never seen before. There's the sky. There's the fucking sky and that smell in the air. It doesn't smell like the recycled air of the vault. And this, it does gonna make some of them burst out laughing. It does make some sit there trying to wonder if it's all real. And some are actually crying. They saw the corridors, some that were familiar that they do recognize. It was only now that they saw the outside world and the sun, the blue sky, that they realized this was real. The Enclave is long dead. They're free. They're fucking free. And that, it was something they had to try to come to terms with, try to figure out. And Deku, he told them all simply, if they do wish to, they can see about connecting them with their descendants. People who are members of their family that may wish to know who they are. It will be quite hard, but from their experience, they do know that some people don't wish to know their family and their ancestors, relatives. Though some people do want to stay in contact. He does know Victor, who is in contact with his brother's descendants, and they don't know who he is. However, with some time and cooperation, they have grown to learn more about him, hear more about their family's past. He does understand if this does sound too good for them to understand. But with some time, they can put together a proper list. People who may be family to all of them. The Vault AI. It already is going back on its records to figure things out as to who they are all related to. And some do to nod, as there is or someone does get to ask. Victor. Yes, that is his name. Victor Woods. That would be correct. I've heard that name before. I believe I knew his mother. You have quite a memory, don't you, Miss Fraser? Yes, I do. My memory is quite extensive. I pride myself on keeping track of things. Organization. I'm sure. Now, all of you are familiar with the layout to the vaults. However, it may have expanded from your time. Most of it is still the same. Not much of it has been changed. Though we have burrowed several layers deeper and several floors deeper. I do wish for all of you to understand. That's all. I understand that this is quite a lot, so I will give you some free time to run around. And afterwards, I do believe that it will only be right to give you all your own residences. Now, do all of you understand this? Someone gonna raise their hand. Samuel. Sam is fine. Or Reed. This is real, isn't it? It is. What are you? What am I? I'm mixed with I don't really know. As far as I'm aware, my genetics are a bit all over the place. The creature I'm spliced with is known as a Deathclaw up here. Though we believe it to be some sort of horned reptile along with a lot of other DNA. As far as I'm aware, I am the third person spliced with that creature. The fourth person came a year after me. A year. You failed. No, I didn't fail. Things on the surface are far more complex than you understand. Now, if that is all your questions, you can either go over there and meet Miss Cynthia, or you can come with me and we can all get a proper meal. I'm sure you are all famished. Though, you all do know your way to the cafeteria. A map will be provided to you when you do arrive there, if you do wish to stay here now. Or if you do wish to follow me, then I can take you to a personal residence for all of you to get acquainted with, until we do see about your family outreach. Him going to leave. And right now, some people do to stay on the surface to try and see about all of this. I mean, they're actually up here. They're actually up here on the surface. This isn't fake. These people aren't Enclave. I mean, that power armor suit. It's not painted jet black. It's painted the color of steel. And it's different. And Deku, he does go to take the Vault Dwellers down, get them lunch, and assign them residences, along with telling them about the current routine. And that was a week ago. Right now, he does get to go through it in his mind. A mental file of the 6 who he brought out of hibernation. There's Alison Greer. She has the DNA splicing of a honey badger. Yeah, he'd heard about how vicious those fuckers were before the war. There is Samuel Reed, the Scorch Beast man. He does differ from Marcy. He can't grow in size to the same size as Marceline. He does, however, seem to have a stronger psionic voice. One that does wreak havoc on his vocal cords. That one, yeah. He does have to use sparingly, but the amount of force he can generate does say something about it. He can get to around 15 feet. That's relatively small compared to Marceline. Right now, there is Haley Hensley. She does have the DNA splicing of a hawk. There is Dakota Haynes. He has the DNA splicing of an armadillo, and he does even appear to have an exoskeleton on his outer layer of skin. He's a little odd. Then there is Nicholas Sykes. He has the DNA of a spider. Though from what Deku can tell about him, he has 4 arms and a strange like exoskeleton similar to another dweller they do get to have. Logan Roland, who does have the DNA of a fire ant. And then there is Carrie Fraser, who does have the DNA of a snake. She's venomous. That Deku has heard about. And she is also reptilian. This is rather intriguing. Deku, he has heard that she is quite flexible. From what he understands in records, she has the ability to relax her body, and from his own understanding, her bones are relatively weird. He's not sure if the FEV mess with them, but she's got a lighter frame. It's odd. It may come in handy, especially considering the fact that whenever she did start testing out her flexibility, her ranges of motion were rather crazy compared to some of the normal dwellers he's heard about. And that can definitely come in handy. Now, we do currently have where he does a step into the operations room for his team. And he does go to slap down a file and begin to inform everybody. Looking around the large room and going to turn, seeing all the coffee makers are empty. Now, all of you, I'd like you to understand something quite important about today. Today is quite interesting. The NCR has finally agreed to have President Kimball come to our vault. Right now, we have sent a small team out to the Ultra Lux Hotel and Casino. Mr. House has already begun the process of cleaning up his, well, my mess back there. We already have had a recruitment of volunteers who are quite interested about going to Vegas. However, the casinos have been warned about what will happen to those dwellers if harm does come to them. They're under the impression that I'll walk through the front door and hang someone's head in the lobby. Deku falling silent as a choir of chuckles do somewhat go to rain through the area. And he does go to somewhat grin talking about it. They aren't that close to wrong, though he also does need to go meet with Courier 6. While they do for people establishing an embassy there, there is the fact that the overseers do wish to go see it for themselves. And with President Kimball, he may attempt to try and negotiate for them to talk in the embassy. Though, considering the fact that that place is still being cleaned up, he believes the vault is the better option. Now, he's bringing this to all of their attention. All of them are gonna be on the surface. He wants them present. The overseers are going to greet President Kimball when he does arrive. The Brotherhood are expected to try something. The Brotherhood has not been in contact with them for 2 weeks since he went to their vault. And that is something he cannot ignore. Right now, if they do continue to remain silent on them, then they will have to take action against them as a preliminary strike. The overseers are already in talks and discussion about this. They're also aware of his personal bias against their organization. However, they're only aware of this because of the fact they are biased against old world technology, they are xenophobic against mutants and ghouls, along with the fact that they believe their organization is best to handle technologies like what all of them have handled their entire lives. Now, if they knew about half the things they had down here, then they would try to burn them to the ground, or bunker bomb them with whatever they could find from the old world. Do all of them understand this? Some nodding and muttering to themselves, as others do talk with those around them, all enjoying a cup of coffee. And Deku, he does go to talk about it. Now, him giving a toothy grin. He is expecting somebody to take a bullet for a president. Does he have any volunteers? All of them looking around at each other. And Deku does go to see the expressions all of them do go to wear. Him talking about it. Don't be a bunch of pansies. They'll obviously be getting body armor. Though, that's the thing. They're expecting President Kimball to have their own bodyguards. But if shots do start to be fired, he wants someone covering that man. And that is what Mr. Dakota Haynes is for. His body is highly resistant to flame and armor-piercing rounds. He is capable of taking a lot of punishment thanks to his durable skin and exoskeleton. Thank you? But am I really the best candidate for this? Your armor. It's capable of stopping rounds. That is what we need. You'll be allowed to mutate. And if they do have a problem with that, then you can give them shit after you save their president. After you foil their assassination attempt, we're expecting things to go sour. Along with you, I do wish for 2 others to cover the man. Jonathan is one of them. He has the capability of becoming a living wall. As well as some of you are able to understand, he can block high arms fire. While I would want to do this task myself, I believe it is pertinent for me to take out the sniper. Now, as for an update to some of you, we were able to capture Enclave Revenants over in Jacobstown. We are currently trying to undergo the process of interrogation and seeing what we can get out of them. It's only been 3 days, but when we have more information, I will open the discussion table more and further. Yes, Miss Stevens? Oh, why don't you guys just go ahead and hollow out their brains? You know, with Miss Pickett? Miss Pickett is trying to extract information. If she does attempt to force things, her abilities won't allow her to understand much of what she does gain. I am not particularly understandable as to how things work with her power. That's her department. Miss Pickett. I can gain the information, it'll just take time. If we can get them to negotiate, then that will work. Though, if we do need to resort to more extreme methods, we can do that. I understand, Miss Pickett. Anyone else? Yes. What are we going to do when we have an understanding as to where the Enclave base might be? Are we coming down with full force? That is the option. But I do believe that raising a group of people this large would be quite suspicious to them. We can drop in with 2 squads. Make sure to exterminate them. One would go in and attack. Another squad would make sure to try and hunt down the stragglers. Capture who we can. If they have any research on FAV that we need, we may be able to collect it. And hopefully, turn it into the Overseers. Now, does anyone else have any questions? No? Good. Now, if anyone does wish for a team to head out, do understand that we will be changing some parameters. Vegas is on the table. However, you will need to report in every couple of hours. If things do go wrong, head back to the Lucky 38 as your current fallback location. And make sure to keep yourself paired up, 2-man squads. This information will be given out to those of you who wish to recruit up and join. And it will be posted on the board in the room for the humans and or mutants who do miss today's briefing. Am I understood? Deku, hearing a choir of yes sirs, and he does go to stand and go to leave. Right now, he's been busy. He's been worried. And it's been a while. He does feel good. He does feel better about himself. So far, things are progressing the way they thought they would be. The people that they've revived, they've been trying to readjust to vault life. It's been a difficult adjustment for them, but now that they're aware that everything is the way it is, they're beginning to try and settle in. He knows that rest period. He knows that type of time. It might have been greater for them, but it wasn't easy for him either. They'll adjust. So far, they're just still wary of everything. He gets it. Though, there currently is where he is heading home. Right now, him going to step to the front door of his dwelling. And whenever he does to do so, he does go to sit down and try to think about a few things, beginning to sharpen his blade and going to take apart his weapon. And there is where someone does come walking into the room. I'm going to turn and see Chloe, who does have a grin plastered over her face, talking about it. So, everything went well? Things went well. Though, what's up with you? I'm fine. Marcy's fine too, in case you were wondering. The doctors think she'll pop soon. Seriously? I don't know. She's got a few little ones. Jealous? Of course I'm not jealous. I'm happy for her. Though, I did have a bit of a present for you. A present? My birthday isn't until the day after tomorrow. I know, but in hindsight, you are probably not going to be able to celebrate your birthday properly. What do you mean? President Kimball's should be arriving the day after tomorrow. He may be here then or the day after that. The NCR is a bit vague with their time. They're trying to put out information that he's coming here today and deter assassination attempts by giving out false information. A team's already being sent out to deal with those who do try to find ambush points or deal with that. Along with that, there is the fact that Aiden's going to be providing security for him. Aiden? Him and a few of Vault Tech security. You sure? Well, they're ground team. Ground team. Yup. There was talk about using a vertibird, but that's a whole thing. If we do bring him here as if we're just moving between place to place, that will do well. We're planning to bring him in with one of our shipments of resources from, well, the Silver Rush. Fair. Okay. So what then? So I had a thought. Her gonna walk over and wrap her arms around Deku's neck, leaning down to come face to face with him. It's been a while since it's just been the two of them. And it's been a really long time since he's taken a break. How's it now? Yes, it has been. And I know you've been a bit stressed. You've been recording stuff about the Sierra Madre. And I know you don't particularly like that. You're right, I don't. Okay. So, the Overseers have approved an expedition where it's going to be me and you. We'll be out. They approved this expedition? Well, technically I did. I submitted the report talking about how me and you are going to be heading out. You were trying to surprise me with something. Oh, sure. Sure I am. Just ignore that. But her going to hold up something that Deku does stare at. And he does go to look at it. Is that a water skin? It is. It's also sacred root tea. Oh, indeed. See, I figured that you were stressed out. So, how about you go on a bit of a hunt? We head out, we go back to nature, and we just make sure we don't hurt anybody. Deku going to snort, and she does gonna stare at him as she's gonna lean back and off of Deku. What is that? Is it a bad gift? No, no, no. It's the strangest gift I've ever received, but it's a unique one. Um, it's nice. I do like the idea, but it's a lot. Right now, I don't know if we have the time for that. I'd like to just spend the day with you and Marcy. Do with that. You sure? I'm sure. Listen, I'm trying to stay grounded. My head's been clouded and fuzzy for a while, but it's been clear. You know you know me, Chloe. I do. I think you need to take a bit of a break. You're stressing about a lot. I am. I'm just stressing about the Brotherhood. Then let's take them out. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Listen, fuck this. You know what's a better gift for you? How about this? We both head out. We pack a bag full of explosives, and I get you a Pip Boy. No, not a Pip Boy. I get you a Stealth Boy. After that, we head to the Brotherhood bunker. If we're able to stay camouflaged, then we can sneak in, look around, see about how things do go, get a feel for the area, and maybe find their reactor. You want to sneak into the Brotherhood bunker and find the reactor? I take it I have your interest? You have my full attention, babe. Her going to grin as her cheeks do go to somewhat blush in her ears, do go to snap forwards. And Deku, he does go to hear the small rattle of her tail. Okay, then how about we blow it up? We see how things go, we find it, and if we can, we see their stance on us. We listen in and find out a little bit more. We still got some of those holotapes, and I'm sure if we sit in on a private conversation, then we'll really hear how they think of us. Have I ever told you I love that crazy mind of yours? You have. Though, you've also told me a number of other things. Then we can take some time and celebrate your birthday properly. And I do mean properly. Her going to run a finger up his chest, and he does a jump up and pull her into his arms. Right now, going to whisper something to her that does make her tail shake a little violently, and she does it a grin. Right now, them heading out. It does sound like a very good afternoon. It does sound like a very good day. They'll spend the rest of today and tomorrow looking into the Brotherhood. If they find information that can be concrete evidence of them being hostile, they can destroy them. It may be a preemptive strike, and the overseers may be angry, but as long as they do have a motive and essentially a recorded confession, it should be fine. They'll save lives, prevent death. And that's something that Deku, he knows the overseers would at least acknowledge. Matthews doesn't like what he did at the strip, but he does understand that it was necessary. He may be worried about Deku, but he understands the world up here is messed up. So, it needs someone messed up to understand it. The man is wary of him, but he's practical. He understands him. That is why Stanford and Barnett at least acknowledge the things he does. They can see the logic behind it. They won't throw away their people's lives. They've already lost 6 people to the wasteland, and that is already a number far too high than they thought. They lost hundreds to the Enclave, but the wasteland is a more brutal mistress than anything they've ever encountered. And the overseers may just begin to understand that, thanks to Deku's records about the Sierra Madre. Places in this world people truly cannot understand without seeing it with their own eyes. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.